All right. Welcome, everybody. We are here today with my lovely client, Tracy, and Tracy is going to share her experience inside of the Anti-Arthritis Method program that I run. And I think it's so important that we hear from people who have actually gone through the experience themselves so that you can hear it directly from them and maybe even see yourself in that experience and reach out for help as a result. So I hope you enjoy this today and welcome, Tracy. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really, really appreciate this. Like I said, I think it's so important that others can hear from people who have gone through the program and see what the experience was like for you so that you can tell story from your perspective. So
Great.
thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So what I always ask Tracy is if you can start off by giving us, some background, tell us, what kind of arthritis are you dealing with and what did that look like before you joined the anti-arthritis method? Like what kind of symptoms were you experiencing?
Sure. Well, I had been just diagnosed with osteoarthritis just recently, and so rather than going down the painkillers and anti-inflammatories and things the doctor would like to recommend, I wanted to try a more natural approach. So I had been really struggling, and I thought I was making progress, but the last 3 years, I think 3 to 4 years, I'd been really been struggling with pain and fatigue, and well, specifically knee pain. Just not able to manage it all through the day without a lot of pain. So I had been doing some of the typical things like trying to get my weight down. I was too heavy for sure. But I hadn't made the connection that other than losing weight, I hadn't made the other nutritional connection to how that was going to make me feel. So I was struggling along with that, but then I would lose 20 pounds and I'd feel better for a bit, but then I was getting coming back again. And then the other thing I really noticed was my sensitivities to different foods that I had never really noticed before. So when I tried to drop some certain foods and then try to eat them, get them back into my diet, I really noticed that I was not feeling well on particular foods. So anyway, so therefore, it was rough, feeling really bad, barely getting through the day, not wanting to go anywhere, not wanting to travel. It was just too hard and too tiring, and the pain was pretty much I was living with pain all day and all night.
Mhm.
And if the more I did during the day, the worse the pain level got. So I knew I had to do something because I didn't want to live like that. So that's where this I started Googling and I found you. And I had been following you for a bit and I kind of I think I went onto one of your free seminars and just at that time I guess wasn't quite ready.
Mhm.
But I had always had you in the back of my mind and then I was getting your emails and stuff. So when I just knew I was at the bottom, I had to do something. And I was making I felt like I was making some progress on Google, but
Mhm.
that Google rabbit hole is just every day it was Googling something and something different was coming up. And it was getting frustrating and wasn't really getting me to where I needed to go. So
Mhm.
that's when I said I had to do something and you were the answer.
Awesome. Yeah, I think so many people can relate to that rabbit hole on Google where you just keep going and it's, one site says this thing and another site says another thing and then another site says another thing. And it's just, how do you know which one will work for you? And it's exhausting and it's discouraging too, even if you're trying out new things and then not really seeing much progress as well, because our time is really valuable. And especially when our quality of life is really suffering, our energy is low, we're in pain, it's really hard, I think, to get motivated to try new things, especially if we're, keep running up against a wall. So that kind of leads me to another question, Tracy. Can you tell us like what have you been trying to do on your own to manage your pain and your symptoms? I know you had mentioned that you had kind of noticed some connections between some foods and how you felt. Is that right?
That's right. Yes. And so when I first started losing weight, the first time I was having trouble, the first thing I took out was dairy. And then it just seemed like as I was going on, seems like every time I was eating something, it was, there was some kind of reaction. Like I was just getting worse pain or I was getting tired or upset stomach and I was at the point where I was like, what am I even supposed to eat? Because then there's so much contradictory information on the internet. Should I eat red meat, shouldn't I eat red meat? It's like, oh,
Mhm.
it was just, I ended up, it was like you said, just so frustrated. And then I was getting worried about the amount of supplements I was taking, thinking like not knowing, and then the amount of money I was spending on supplements, not knowing what was working, and just, and then you could Google one supplement and they'd have completely different opposite information on if it was going to be beneficial or not, or the amount of supplementation you would have to take and for the length of period you'd have to take to get any results.
Mhm.
So some dietary changes, basically that I didn't really know the connection. I just knew I had to lose some weight. So the first thing I started with was the dairy products. I don't know why I started there, but
Mhm.
that is where I started. And then just trying to manage. But when you're just unsure every day of I was just so unsure about everything. What should I eat? What shouldn't I eat? What supplement should I take? It was just exhausting and frustrating. And it was ending up costing a lot of money.
Mhm.
Like you said, time and the supplements that I was buying. And then they can be causing other additional problems. So those are the things I was doing. Was doing a lot of reading, but I guess I just didn't feel like I found the thing I could stick with one person giving me the advice that I could follow and not question. That is
Mhm.
what I was missing. So that's what I thought was really great about your program.
Right. Yeah, just having one system to follow instead of kind of trying a whole bunch of others or trying to like concoct. I remember trying to create my own from a whole bunch of different pieces of information as well. And yeah, very tiring, very frustrating. And like you said, you can end up spending a lot of money as well, just trying different supplements and things. And supplements can be a great tool. They definitely can enhance progress, but you have to know which ones, when, and why, because you could take 30 different things
Yeah.
and you really don't need to. You really
Yeah.
don't need to. So
That's right. Exactly.
having things narrowed down with like I think a structured plan to follow, it just really simplifies things overall. So
Yes.
any hesitations that you had, Tracy, before joining the anti-arthritis method program? Because I know you said that you did follow me for a while and you listened to like one of my seminars. I know that everybody has to, start at their own time and when they're ready and, when they feel like that's the right choice for them. So I'm curious what kind of hesitations that you had before joining.
I think the main thing was when I was listening to your first seminar and I realized like the amount of foods I would have to cut out. I think that was the issue. And then I guess I wasn't really willing to do that to feel better until I got to the lowest point I could get to where I was actually feeling desperate. So, and
Mhm.
then also I have to consider my family who I'm also cooking for, like to how do you manage this and that. Actually, so those were my hesitations, but I just got to the point where I knew I had to do something and it's been beneficial for everyone actually.
Good, good. Do you mind sharing some of the benefits to your family since you started this?
For sure. Like the amount of knowledge I've gained just by understanding how nutrition and certain foods will affect your body.
Mhm.
And just, I think it just opened me up to a whole new, like I said before, I never thought of it. I never thought it was a nutritional issue, right? Like
Mhm.
nobody ever told me that was the issue. So we have made a lot of lifestyle changes. Most of my family has made a lot of lifestyle changes. And it's just been really incredible. For one thing, my one son who was having a lot of stomach issues, like his stomach issues are so much better. Like his stomach is way better. So we just cut out all the junk, all the processed food. We cut out a lot of the dairy, almost dairy. I don't, we use now the coconut milk. That's been a dream.
Mhm.
And the oils, we've made a change to the oils and cutting out the crappy carbs. And so my husband, not as much because he's got a real sweet tooth.
Mhm.
But my definitely myself and my one son, we've seen tremendous changes. And my husband too, like he has made some good changes. There's just a few things he has not ready to let go of, which is his chocolate milk and his late night snacks on baking. So it's a work in progress with him. We're still working on it.
Yeah.
But it definitely changes the way he's looking at things. Like he's seen the changes in us, and
Mhm.
he's it's registered with him. He should make some changes too if he wants to feel better as well.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's wonderful. I love
yeah.
that. And what is the first thing that you noticed about the program that helped you?
Within the first few days, like I think within day 4 or 5, I was actually feeling less joint pain for sure. I was still, I think, I was still tired, I think, for a few weeks, but it was the joint pain. Like I noticed it within the first week. Like I would say it was within the first week, I would say a decrease of 30% down. And like the first 3 to 4 weeks, like by the end of the first month, I could sit with, I could be sitting, relaxing with no joint pain. And my mobility, the pain when I was walking, had decreased substantially as well.
Well, that's
So I think
wonderful.
that was it. It was like the first week. So it was a tough first week just making those changes. But
Mhm.
when you register that it's working, then it becomes very much easier on the second or third week. It
Yeah.
really does. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's really motivating, especially when you see the difference that soon. That's wonderful.
And the other thing is like we have opened up to trying foods that we never tried before. So we were eating a lot of the dark shade vegetables and getting away from them and trying other vegetables. That
Mhm.
was really great. And switching over to coconut milk and protein shakes in the morning was a game
Mhm.
changer. As well as some of the recipes you can do your own baking and you can have baking and it's actually really good. So that was really great.
Yeah, and I think that's so important is that you still want to enjoy the food that you're eating.
Yeah,
And there's so many things that are substitutions. And no, of course, like making, a cake that's not going to trigger your inflammation is going to be the same as one that you'd buy at a bakery, but they can still be really satisfying. And your body knows what to do with those ingredients. It knows how to use that because it's real food. So it makes a huge, it makes a huge difference because I think that you can still really enjoy treats without having to pay for it, with being in pain and tired and sore and digestive
yeah,
issues and all that stuff. So,
for
um,
sure.
and I think it's a matter of time, once you kind of get into the process and you try a few things out and you realize, oh, okay, like I'm not just going to be living off of kale and, chicken because that's no fun either.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah. And what do you think, Tracy, stood out for you with the anti-arthritis method that, the difference between it and maybe some of the things that you were previously trying?
I think for me, just sticking to one program and getting through the program and understanding it, to me, that was beneficial. Then I could stop doing the Google thing. I stopped doing the other supplements because I felt that was working. So I think, I don't know, did I go off somewhere else? What was the question, Jessica?
Oh, no, no worries. What did you think was different about my program compared to the things that you were doing before?
Oh, okay. So definitely I was going down the supplement route, which was getting crazy. Like I was looking at 30 bottles of supplements and you can't go on like that, right? And I didn't even know for sure what was working and what wasn't. So I
Yeah.
think that just the understanding of how nutrition does affect your body I think is the best. And then just learning about that, because I think the knowledge is also power when you understand exactly what these things are doing and you feel it firsthand.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to give it up.
I agree. I agree. Because I find that if we don't understand why we're doing what we're doing, it can be hard to stick it through or hard to trust that that will actually benefit us if we don't understand how and why and some of that science behind it. I know for me that's always been really important is that there's evidence and science behind the choices that I'm making. It's not just somebody's opinion. This program wasn't based on my opinion. So
That's right.
there's a lot of scientific evidence and studies that go behind, what I teach my clients because I want you guys all to have results and to feel better. That's so, so important. And I always feel like I've lived by that in terms of how I practice with my clients. So yeah, having that understanding and that knowledge is very powerful.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because when the truth be told, when I first started the program, I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to get through this 12 weeks, right? And then I'm going to be free and back to my old lifestyle. And then you get halfway through and you realize you do not want to go back to that old lifestyle. So that was really eye-opening as well. It's like this is the
Yeah.
way now I want to live, right? This is the way I want to be. And
Yeah.
so you can't go back to the old ways.
Well, and I think that that's such a good point you make because I think that most of us, when we're starting to make those changes, we think, oh my gosh, I don't even know how I'm going to make it through the first 30 days, never mind 3 months. And then you get there and you're like, it's like your whole perspective can change because your life has changed so much.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Like it's that's exactly right. Like I'm quite shocked at how much different I feel in this short period of time. Because that's pretty a short period of time to be feeling
Mhm.
this much different.
Yeah, well, I'd love to hear more, Tracy. Like, how are you feeling now? What has changed for you in terms of your symptoms?
Well, it's been absolutely amazing. Like just for example, with my at my son's wedding 2 weeks ago, like I wouldn't have, I got through that day with, and by the end of the day, I was close to 30,000 steps. Like I was able to dance, I was able to stay on my feet, I was able to, and I actually didn't even think of it once. I never thought I'm in pain or my knees, I better sit down, not once. I got through the day. Whereas previously I barely get through a couple of hours at an event like that.
Yeah.
So and then if I did, even if I did push through on those events, but I would it would take me a week to recover from those events. And
Yeah.
I did have a little bit of discomfort in the night and a little bit the next morning, but nothing compared to like I couldn't believe like in a couple of days I was fully recovered.
Hmm.
So that is pretty huge because previously I would have been out for the count for a week. And same thing with my grandson, trying to take care of my 2-year-old grandson when I was feeling like that. Like it was really hard. And I was not able to enjoy it because I was in so much pain. I wasn't able to participate in the things he wanted to do. And then by the time he left off over the weekend, it was a full week. Like I was just out for the count for a full week. And now listen, I had my son's wedding. The next weekend I had my grandson for 4 days and I just cruised right through and I was tired. Yes, I was tired when I dropped him off, but nothing like a day I'm recovered and I'm not back to that joint pain.
Hmm.
So that has been amazing in 3 months that those types of changes where it's before I would have been a wreck.
Yeah. Yeah. A 2-year-old is hard to keep up with, that's for sure.
Yes,
Mentally
yes,
and physically.
yes, that's right. And that's why I found this time I was maybe a little more mentally drained than I was physically. But the previous time, I'm not even kidding you. Like I was at a week, I was pretty much out to lunch for a week after taking care of him previously. And that was maybe that was one of the motivating factors. Like that's not how I want it to be. Like I want to be having fun, enjoying him, and don't have to pay the price after because then I'm not going to want to do it. And they're not, and even with his parents, like they noticed. I don't know how comfortable they were to leave him with me when I was feeling. They noticed when they came back how much that had taken a toll on me,
Yeah.
and they basically said, "Well, maybe next time we need to make sure you have somebody else with you." So I want to. I'm not that old that I'm only 60. I should be able to manage on my own. And so that was really another motivating factor for me. So those two things are just huge, life changing for me.
Yeah. That's amazing. I love that so much. Anything else that you're doing now that you weren't able to do before that you've noticed?
Well, like I was saying, I was trying to shut up, just kind of shut down and not participate in life. So now I'm able, like I can go do a golf game. We're going to travel next week. We're going to go away, and we know that's a lot of. So previously, I just didn't want to do it because I couldn't. I could push through the day, but the pain and the payback you'd have for trying to do something like that. So I was just kind of shutting off from that sort of activities. But so now I'm back to traveling, back to golfing, back to participating in fully in life.
Mhm. Amazing.
Yeah, it has
So,
been.
with all that work you've done in the last 3 months, Tracy, what is one of the things that you're most proud of accomplishing through this process?
Well, definitely, I think the lifestyle changes for sure. Like I've made major lifestyle changes, and it's long-term lifestyle changes. But I think for sure, like be able to spend more quality time with my grandson. I think it was my number one goal, and that's what I'm able to do now. So I'm proud of the work I put in and able to get here. And I thank you very much for all your help because it's been a great program, and I just know I'll never go back because you don't want to feel like this and then go back to feeling terrible again.
Mhm. Well,
And I have been able recently, I think last time we had a chat, I was telling you I was still feeling sensitive to some foods, but I've gotten actually much better.
yeah,
So I can have a potato now without feeling it affected what potatoes were doing previously, like even halfway through the program or when I tried to introduce it back in. Um, it was actually affecting my sleep. I wasn't able to sleep. So now
okay.
I'm able to have so it's funny the last couple of weeks I've been able to have, but maybe because I don't know, maybe it's just the adjustment back to, but it's been fine. I'm not going to be eating a lot a lot of them, like we used to eat the meat and potatoes every meal, but a
Mhm.
couple times a week I can enjoy potatoes now without it affecting me.
Yeah, and that's the what we want, that's one of the ultimate goals is we want, you to be able to go back to eating some of these like healthy foods that, may have been causing you distress before. Because as you get stronger and healthier and more resilient from the inside out, your body is able to tolerate more foods than it was previously. Because what a lot of people don't realize is with arthritis, whether it's autoimmune or osteo like yourself, we have more food sensitivities. It's part of having systemic inflammation. It's part of having that leaky gut. And once you have that, so that repair work done on our gut, that brings the inflammation down. And our body, just because our gut is healthier, our immune system's healthier, we're able to tolerate more foods. So some people think, oh my gosh, well, yeah, I'll never be able to eat this or that again. And not true. Over time, as you keep going, your body's going to get stronger and you'll be able to reintroduce some of those things and have a wider range of foods that your body is happy with, and that's going to maintain your results and feeling good, over time. Because we all know that food is enjoyment and it's a part of our lives in such a big way that we want you to be able to have the most expansive diet that you can while
Mhm.
maintaining your health over time. So that's wonderful that you're able to do that, enjoy those foods again, without being in pain and paying for it. And sometimes it
Yeah,
is just a once a week thing or a twice a week thing, once in a while thing, but still it can be part of your lifestyle, and that's really exciting.
yeah, it is. It is. So very good.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much again, Tracy, for doing this, for talking to my community, and for sharing your story. I know it's going to be really helpful and it's going to inspire a lot of people as well to see that this is possible for them too, because there isn't a lot of information out there about, what you can actually do when you have osteoarthritis besides manage pain and maybe a couple other things like go to physio. There is hope, absolutely, to have your quality of life back and to have an enjoyable lifestyle and be able to do the things that you love to do, and including spending time with those who are really important to you, like your grandson. So
Mhm.
thank you so much again for sharing your story. And I just wish you continued success in, as your life continues and as things continue to improve for you. So
Well, thank you very much for all your support in the program and this interview. It's been great. Thank you so much.
yeah. Well, thanks again, Tracy. It's been a
Okay,
pleasure working with you, and yes, be in touch.
I
Tell us how
will. I
things are
will.
going. All
Sounds
right.
great. Thanks, Jessica.
All right. Bye for now, Tracy.
Take care. Bye bye.